Okay, this YouTube video is socially conscious, empowered kids. I've got two myself. I worked extremely hard to have them, went through infertility treatments with the other one just took years and a lot of effort, a lot of timing. So I worked really hard to have these kids, and I wanted kids from a very young age. I was an only child, and my kids are the joy of my life. They are my reason sometimes for so much potential and so much goodness and kindness in them. And the younger you are, the more kind of unkempt by the program you are. But if someone like myself, a conscious parent, is showing you what's going on and teaching you to question things and giving you more credit from your age and introducing you to universal truths and self-love, living from heart center, helping others, looking after your environment, looking into things they don't teach you in school, like, for example, a really cool thing I just learned about is using water bottles and using nursing tubing that was used to provide IVs to irrigate plants. I mean, how about that for a science fair project? How about something thinking outside the box over sustainable living or sustainable thinking? Not just telling kids to memorize things and to be stuck in this little box, and whoever conforms the best and repeats things back in the best way is the winner here. No, it's the free thinkers, the people like Tesla, like Einstein, who didn't really have much success in school and who were coming from a deeper place, a more ethical, higher conscious place. These people didn't have economic success. Einstein was a gosh darn refugee. They suffered greatly, but they made huge achievements that helped the world and helped society. And for myself, it's the same thing. I know you don't need more. If you watch the Happy documentary, then you go upwards of $100,000 in your income, or I think the number they give is 70 or something US. Obviously, the dollar's always changing and stuff, but they're saying once your needs are met, once you have the house, the transportation, the ability to eat when you need to eat and have healthy food and your needs are met, like ultimately, what more do you need? And it's all the material stuff that's taking away from this life experience and distracting you from the real point of life, from the real point of existence, which is to find out and rediscover who you really are. Because coming into this existence, we've really forgotten. And teaching your kids to not forget, because they come in as abundant, beautiful life consciousness, these little babies that love everyone and have a smile for everyone. And they forget who they really are as they get older. I'd say after the age of 6, it starts deteriorating because tragedies start happening to them. They start becoming socially shunned. They start being bullied. They start succumbing to the program. I can notice true differences in my daughter, who when she was 3, there was one day where she didn't want to go to preschool because it was, a special... Sorry, there was one day when she was 4 this year when she didn't want to go to preschool because it was a special day and she didn't have the item in question. And when she was 3 and it was pajama day and she forgot and she was wearing her regular clothes and everybody's in pajamas, she could have cared less. Okay, what is that? That's definitely the societal program. It's already gotten to her. She watches shows like Barbie Life in the Dream House. She thinks that that's reality and that's what it's supposed to be. And you're just supposed to be this patsy that's materialistic, that has this boyfriend and has this fake reality and doesn't really have any real sustenance or depth to their character and is all about accumulating material wealth and living frivolously and not really seeking anything that has any depth to it. I mean, what is that? That's what I grew up with. And in some ways, growing up Jehovah's Witness was good for me because I didn't have access to holidays. I couldn't celebrate Christmas. I couldn't do birthdays. I didn't have Valentine's Day. And I mean, it was societal shaming that I didn't have that, but I don't miss any of that stuff because, and I don't really feel attached to any of it. I have gifts for my kids, and they don't get many. They get a couple because I'm not into that anymore. We are more for doing people at the holidays because that's what it should be about. But if you make it all about the gifts, that's how you give your kids self-worth, by giving them things and by saying you're not good enough the way you are. We have to have this holiday and celebrate this and give you more stuff. Like, what is this? All these holidays forfeit more of the illusion, and then we celebrate them in the educational environment as well. And kids that don't have those beliefs or come from other countries, then they're always in the back burner. I mean, the holidays are sabotaging things. Can't we just celebrate the earth? Things like Earth Day make way more sense to me. Or Grandparents' Day. Like, let's celebrate people in our lives. Let's celebrate people we love. Why do we have to go be commercial and extort people and make more things and have them made in the third world when in reality, it's right here, right now, being who you are, loving yourself, loving other people, having this experience. But due to the low consciousness state of the vast majority of humanity, we are making a difference, light workers like myself, but people are still stuck in this. And the more people see it, the more they awaken to it, the more they can awaken other people as to what's really going on here. It's starting in childhood with the program that you're not good enough the way you are. We have to change you. We have to restructure you. We don't like independent thinking, except in some rare cases. The arts are, in a lot of schools, are diminished, especially in the States. We're not going to feed you unless you have money. I just saw the story of some kid that couldn't eat the GMO food that day, even though she really wanted it, because she had a $2 bill, which was in fact, they thought was counterfeit. And the law enforcement came in and thought this kid was counterfeiting this money. It was in fact from the 1950s when they had this type of $2 bill, and there was no blame. But society blames kids. They police everyone over the smallest thing. I mean, if you walk out with a cookie that the bakery gives you for free and you're being policed by it constantly, like, we live in states of fear. And when there's toxic GMOs in food and water and things we don't even know about, we're just becoming aware of now, people's health dwindles. Their thinking isn't as sharp. They can't discuss or think these things. So it's the very strongest of the strong awakening during this period. I believe there's 3 waves of people like myself, first, second, and third. My kids are third, I'm second, my mother is first, and my father was first, but he didn't make it. He couldn't handle what had happened in his own life with how grim and horrible it was. We didn't have the internet back then. He didn't have a hope and hack, and he got cancer, and he passed. But his whole life, he was always on a quest to understand what's going on with consciousness, what's going on in the world. He was so depressed. They soused the poor guy with lithium, and he should have been embracing this awakening. In other countries, they embrace these things. In ours, they shut her down. So I will be a parent who parents my kids, who loves my kids with kindness, respect, dignity, embracing who you are fearlessly. And my kids are going to be even more amazing than I am. We're all amazing, but they're going to have none of those years wasted of having the asleepness, because they're awake right now. And my daughter is only 4, and she's seeing through this already. So please help your kids understand what's going on. Obviously keep it in kid speak and kid language. Help them understand these things. You're not saving them anyway if Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny are still existing. If you're telling them all these things, I mean, it's just not helping anything. And talking about consciousness and abundant love and true consciousness are things that are really going to benefit them, not some airy-fairy stories about how these characters exist that you're going to later tell them, oh, by the way, I lied to you. It's not fair and it's not cool. So I'll continue the series talking about parenting in another video, but that's what I wanted to say today. All right, thank you and have a great day.